All right. So up to this point, I've suggested to you that there are three different orientations toward questions about ethics, questions about moral dilemmas. One of those orientations might be described like this: moral judgments are not true, except as being expressions of personal opinions and preferences. Just as oysters are delicious expresses the speaker's personal opinion, so all moral judgments, such as capital punishment is morally wrong or physician-assisted suicide is morally permissible, are merely matters of personal opinion. Another orientation that's sort of similar to that might be described like this: when we declare that an action is morally right or wrong, we simply mean that the majority of the people in our society consider it to be right or wrong. Okay, so both of these express sort of different variations of relativism. And I've been implying that there are others who reject both of these, and that those who reject both of these might take an orientation that looks like this: it's possible that an action, such as owning slaves, could be morally wrong, even if the person who did it or all the members of that person's society sincerely believed that the action was morally permissible. Okay, now from these three options, you have to pick one. If you pick any two, you're going to have a contradiction. So you only get to pick one. If you pick number one, you're going to hate the rest of this class. And it's going to be absolutely pointless to you because the rest of the class assumes that ethics is more meaningful than just tastes and preferences. So sorry if this is going to be boring for you. If you chose option number two, then really what you're looking for is like a sociology class or an anthropology class. Because in those classes, you're going to be studying what are called descriptive ethics. What do people actually think? Not are they justified in thinking it, which is kind of where we're at. If you chose option number three, though, we're going to have a pretty steep mountain to climb. Because option number three implies that there's something that exists that's real, that's beyond individuals and groups of people and what they've created on their own, that actually exists, that we can have knowledge of and appeal to when evaluating moral claims. So, of course, the reasonable question somebody could ask is like, where the hell do these objective moral standards exist? And how do they exist? And where may even seem like a funny question, because where implies that it has a place that we could locate under a microscope or with a telescope, or maybe it exists in our minds. So where do these objective qualities exist? And that's what we're going to start to look at here. We're going to start to take a really formal approach to ethics and try to get a good, very good form for this exploration. And it begins with you clarifying something for yourself. Does anything matter? And I mean anything. Can you think of one thing that actually has value and worth, that it matters? It would bother you to see this thing or learn of this thing being in some way compromised, diminished, destroyed? Is there anything that matters? So let's start there. Maybe reflect for yourself. What matters to me?